Hey, now, before we get started, let me ask you a question. What do you think was the most craziest fight in sports history? Was it the brawl in Montreal? The hockey fights? Tooth and nail? Hand to God? Baseball bat to head? Diego? Gasper? Or my personal favorite, the basketball, the Malice at the Palace, Indiana Pacers vs. Detroit Pistons, November 19, 2004. A night that was supposed to be just another heated NBA rivalry turned into the most infamous brawl in basketball history. Players charging into the stands, fans storming the court, fists flying everywhere. This was more than just a fight. This was the Malice at the Palace. The hatred between these teams ran deep. The Pistons had just won the 2004 NBA championship, while the Pacers believed they were the better team. Every matchup was physical, emotional, and personal. And on November 19th, the Pacers traveled to the Palace of Auburn Hills for an early season showdown. Nobody knew this game would go down in infamy. As the fourth quarter wound down, the Pacers held a comfortable double-digit lead. Tensions flared when Ben Wallace fouled Ron Artest hard on a layup. Wallace shoved Artest in retaliation. Players rushed in, but the referees seemed to have it under control. That was until Artest did something unusual. He laid down on the scorer's table, trying to calm himself down. And that's when everything changed. A fan from the stands threw a cup of soda, hitting Artest square in the chest. In a split second, Artest charged into the stands, fists flying. His teammates followed. Fans fought back. The line between players and spectators disappeared. What was supposed to be a basketball game turned into a full-on riot. Stephen Jackson jumped in, swinging at anyone near Artest. Jermaine O'Neal landed a brutal punch on a fan who stormed the court. It was absolute bedlam. The home team's fans had officially jumped the fence and were swarming the players. The refs and the team staff were trying their best to keep things under control, but they too were getting attacked by the fans. Players grabbed whatever they could, using chairs as weapons. It was every man for himself. The only thing missing was a clock to wind down this madness. And all the while, the commentators could only gasp in disbelief. This is the absolute worst thing I've ever seen in NBA history. As the situation reached its peak, play was stopped for good. The fans began to retreat as the Pacers players made their way off the court, leaving the Pistons players standing in a pile of chairs and debris. The Pacers didn't even make it to their locker room. They had to be escorted off the premises by police. And when they finally got back to the arena the next day for their scheduled shoot-around, they found out that the entire place had been cleared out. There was not a single chair in sight. In the end, the NBA handed down the harshest suspensions in league history. Ron Artest was suspended for the entire season. Stephen Jackson, Jermaine O'Neal, and Ben Wallace were suspended for dozens of games. In total, the players involved lost over $11 million in salary. But what happened after that? How did the NBA change to prevent something like this from happening again? Well, Commissioner David Stern immediately tightened security at every arena. The NBA cracked down on fan behavior, player conduct, and alcohol sales. The Malice at the Palace forced the league to rethink how it protected both players and fans. And then there's the what if Ben Wallace hadn't fouled Ron Artest, if Artest hadn't taken it so personally, if he hadn't laid down on the scorer's table, if that fan hadn't thrown a cup, if Artest hadn't charged into the stands. But the fact is, it doesn't matter. The Malice at the Palace wasn't just a fight. It was a culmination of months of bad blood between two teams. It was a microcosm of American society at the time, a moment where civility broke down and primal instincts took over. But maybe, just maybe, it was also a wake-up call, a reminder that sports, no matter how passionate it gets, should never descend into violence. Nearly 2 decades later, the Malice at the Palace is still remembered as the darkest night in NBA history. But in a strange way, it also reshaped the league for the better. It served as a warning, a reminder of what happens when passion and anger spill out of control. A game became a riot and basketball was never the same again. I'm your host. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And if you want to watch more episodes, you can do so right here. We'll see you next time